Brenden Nel joins us out of South Africa again, man, who's been a great friend of the show for a couple of decades. Well, you guys were pretty comfy, I thought, this morning. You're playing Scotland. What did you think of the game?
Well, yeah, I think this game was built up to be this huge sort of upset game for Scotland, and they threw everything into this. I mean, they don't have another game for another 2 weeks, so they could really build up. They gave everything for this game, and we were sort of told that they're going to run us off our feet and all these sort of things in the lead up. But at the end of the day, I mean, if you look really at that game, it was a bit of an arm wrestle, and it would always have been one. But it was a game that if you look at it, Scotland never really threatened the box. They had 2 good line breaks, but that was about it. They never got into the 22, and threatened the box try line. And Finn Russell had 1 kick at goal. So, a pretty good accomplished night for the Boks in their first World Cup game.
What did you see that was different from the way that you played tonight and the way that you played at Twickenham against the All Blacks?
I don't think it was too much. I think it was a lot of it was low risk. The Boks did try here and there to do a few more things. I mean, you saw Kurt Lee coming off a couple of rolling mauls and things like that. But generally, I think that it was just literally get this game out of the way and let's get the points, and that's it. I think this was more of a bogey, a tricky game for the Springboks that they could you could mess this game up pretty quickly. Scotland's got everything to gain, and the Boks have got everything to lose in a game like this. So, to me, I was pretty satisfied. I thought it was never going to be pretty. They wanted the result, and they got the result, and that's all that really mattered.
Brenden Nel is with us. Brenden, if you had to improve your side, how would you do it?
It's a good question. It's a very good question. Look, I think the Bok pack at the moment is humming along. They didn't get all the reward that they wanted tonight, but the scrum was pretty awesome, and built off that, and the Scottish lineout was pretty poor. So the set pieces, there's not much to do. I think finishing, there was a couple of chances they could have done a lot better with, and there's a couple of, just think there was 1 or 2, an ankle tap by Finn Russell on Grant Williams and Chesson Colby who broke away. The finishing could be a little bit better, but and there's a couple of knock-ons, so there's always work-ons. But saying that, when you win quite comfortably by more than 2 scores in any game against a team that's 5th in the world, you should be pretty happy. And I know we always like All Black fans are probably the same. You always like to see your team dominate and win by far. But at the end of the day, this is a marathon. It's the first stage of the marathon, and that's all you need to do is you need to move on to the next one.
Yeah, I kind of looked at the game. I just sort of, it was kind of like big brother and little brother in the backyard, and big brother with his hand on little brother's head who's sort of flailing around, but he never gets really close. So, if I did a caricature or a cartoon, that was the game.
Yeah, it was in a way. And I mean, look, I love Scotland, and there's a lot of South Africans that play in their team, and Piers Schoeman's one of my favourite players. I worked with him at the Bulls, and so there's a lot of soft spots in the Scottish team for us as well. And so I mean, you like to beat them, but you don't want to humiliate them in a way. So, and they're a good team, and they'll still do well. And I still think that Ireland's biggest test in this World Cup won't be the Springboks, but will be that Scotland game at the end of the pool.
All right, what else did we learn over the weekend in your eyes? Let's go right back to that opener, the All Blacks versus France. Because, I've avoided talking about this for a few minutes. So we're all a bit battered and bruised at this end, mate, and for good reason, because we just, we can't seem to replace players with players. We've got, I think, a pretty competitive first 15, but outside of that, the guys that are stepping up aren't stepping up.
Yeah, I thought pretty much with the All Blacks' biggest problem, they started off exceptionally well against France, and I think the fact that they didn't score in that sort of first half more than that 1 try was their biggest weakness. If they'd put 2 or 3 more, they would have taken the game away from France, and France got stronger as the game went on, and the All Blacks I was a bit worried, especially in that late part of the second half when the All Blacks were chasing the game. They're not used to chasing a game, and they looked pretty frazzled. I mean, Bowden had a great game, but in that later part of that game, he almost looked like he didn't know what to do when he got the ball, and you don't normally see that from an All Black side. So, to me, that was the worrying point, and I think there's a bit of a worry about how they handle pressure. They as I say, they started off exceptionally well, and I thought if they scored 2 or 3 tries in that first half, they would have had the game. But France. The one thing that impressed me about France on that night is that they didn't win with French flair. They won by playing old-fashioned rugby, and they kicked 40-odd times. They only gave away 4 penalties. They really sort of stuck in the arm wrestle, and when the All Blacks started to tire, that's when they got stronger. So. Yeah, there's a lot of question marks about this All Black team. I think the good part for the All Blacks, if, as a neutral, is I'd say that they've got 3 weeks now to concentrate on a single game, and knowing them that they'll put a lot of work into that. But yeah, I think the blows have been struck. I think teams probably don't fear the All Blacks like they would at other World Cups.
Brenden Nel is with us, freelancer out of South Africa. All right, a couple of other questions. England against Argentina. I mean, look, just a dreadful game of rugby, unless you like scoring in threes. You like a lot of drop goals, penalties and stop-start. But I thought the Poms were, after down to 14, played really, really well in that game, neutralised Argentina. That red card, though, talk us through that red card. Are you happy with a decision like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I was quite honest on Twitter last night. I thought it was very harsh. I thought, in a situation like that, where I always feel like an accidental head clash shouldn't be worthy of a red card. I understand it's the rules, understand the protocols and all those sort of things, but I think to myself, when a guy's coming down at a speed like that from taking a ball in the air, the split second that a player has to adjust is very split second, and I think often players get it wrong, and to me that wasn't a red card. I think a yellow would have been fine. I felt for Tom Curry. It's not often I defend the English in any way,
no,
and sort of say, and I just felt that was a bit harsh, because I felt you could see that happening to any player in any team across this World Cup, and it would feel wrong no matter who it was.
Do you feel the refs are going to, keep being as staunch as that, or is this that they're just laying it down now and they may relax when it comes to the knockout stages? Because what I fear is, I just feel like if you're a neutral watching that game, it's such a complicated, convoluted watch, and also you get rules like that. I don't know how attractive it is to people who don't understand or haven't followed rugby for a long time.
Well, that's the one thing. And the other thing that's also sort of become apparent in sort of this first weekend's play is that we're not seeing replays anymore. They're making the split decisions. The refs are making them in the TMO bunker, which is fine. But I feel that you've got to give some sort of context, because there are decisions in a number of these games. The forward pass in the other night's game, I'm just trying to think. There's a couple of these ones where they make these decisions, and they say it on screen if you're watching TV, but if you're watching in the stands, you don't know what's going on. So then you think that that these things, they've taken the decision, they've missed the replay, and you're waiting for the replay on TV, and it never comes. So I think we've sort of got from the one end of the spectrum to the other end. We used to have French TV refs who used to show you all the replays that suited them, and not the opposition's replays, to now having almost nothing. And to me, you have to have something in between. You have to still educate the crowd. You don't have to overplay these things, but there's definitely a middle ground, and I think we need to find that. Plus, also, I think the refs that come in, the refs are going to be harsh in the beginning. I'm hoping they'll relax, but teams have to adjust as well, and I think there's a responsibility on teams as well to adjust to these things as well. So, I'm hoping we don't get to a point where semi-final or quarter-final or even the final gets ruined by a red card. But in this day's rugby, that can happen pretty easily, to be very honest.
No, you just sound too self-satisfied after your team wins and wins comfortably. God, that bomb squad.
You phoned me on the wrong night, Marty. You phoned me on the wrong night. Obviously, you're going to be satisfied.
And that bomb squad you bring on is just such an awesome tactic, isn't it? It's just 7 brand new forwards in the second half. All right, well, we got a lot of soul searching to do on this side of the world, mate. After the opener, you should be happy.
I must tell you something. That the funniest thing to me was after Friday night's game, the Twitter in South Africa wasn't going on about how bad the All Blacks were. It's quite funny. All they were asking was, "Is Jeff Wilson going to say again the Boks can't play better than they did at Twickenham?" There's a lot of guys who obviously took offense at Jeff Wilson's comments on the breakdown, and I think I'm hoping the All Blacks bounce back. I'm hoping we don't play you guys in the quarterfinals when they bounce back. But, I suppose we have to win. We have to beat Ireland. Otherwise, we're going to play France. So we might play in the quarterfinals. I think the All Blacks, not everything's lost for them. You've got 3 weeks to concentrate on one game, and I think teams as good as the All Blacks can. It's just the big question is how much of a dent has that loss put in them as well.